Hello and welcome clanmates. This will be a short guide on Abyss Actors. This is my deck and it's optimal-ish, it needs a bit of tweaking, but this for me has been getting 10 win streaks easily. Now I'll start going over cards, starting with like the base core cards of the set. Mellow Madonna. Mellow Madonna, you need 3 copies, 100%. I won't go through the effects too hard, apart from what's, key and needed. The main one is, scale 0, which is perfect. Set her down, pay 1k, get an Abyss Actor. That's usually your first move of every turn 1 play. Whether you start first, whether you start second, slap her down, pay a k, bring out another Abyss Actor. Usually it's Wild Hope. Now and again it's Sassy Rookie. If you've already got Wild Hope, it's Superstar. But, normally you'll just be slapping her down as a scale, and then you'll be using her effect to pay 1,000, and then you bring her out. You bring out a card from your deck that's Abyss Actor. Now, this locks you into Abyss Actor special summoning only. You still get a normal summon, which you have to be very aware of when you're taking them on. Because, they can slap out a million combos, bring out a shitload of Abyss Actors, you interrupt them, you manage to destroy all the Abyss Actors but one, and then you realise they haven't used a special summon, and then they'll tribute summon for like Aether Dragon. They get a free banish, usually that's an OTK. But yeah, that's Mellow Madonna in a nutshell. A good counter is the same as what you do when a Gaia player activates Galloping Gaia. They activate it, you'll pop the card, and then done. They've used the effect, they don't get the benefit of being able to draw an Abyss Actor from the deck, and they're 1,000 life points down. So, Mellow Madonna, smashing her, destroying her when she activates her effect, pretty crucial, especially if you're starting up the game. Anyway, moving on to the second core. Wild Hope. Wild Hope is, pretty crucial, almost as crucial as Madonna, but he's more of a you play around with him sort of thing. He's there to, if you've got him in your hand, you know what plays you're going to make. If you don't have him, you'll be trying to pull him out. He works in combination with Skyrus incredibly well, because you're setting down the pendulum scale, you then slap Skyrus, use Skyrus' effect to destroy him, you bring out your Arc Pendulum Dragon, Odd Eyes, or, the other one you'll see, I forgot what it's called. And then that will give you another card, so it's a 2-for-1. You're getting essentially a +1 in an Abyss Actor deck. And you also get a high scale, so you can Pendulum Summon. Other than that, if you have a really shit starting hand, you just set him, he gets destroyed, you're able to pull out an Abyss Actor from your deck. It's resource gathering. That is his primary use. He's got some niche uses. You get to rank 4 XCs if you use the effects at the right time. He's an Abyss Actor, and, very rarely you'll use his Pendulum effect where you can tap Mellow Madonna, she becomes scale 9, so then you have a really good scale to bring out your Abyss Actors. Other than that, there's not much else to say about him. If you've filled up your field with Abyss Actors and he's on the field, activate his effect, it'll give you an extra few hundred attack points, bringing him up to 1900 max, which isn't amazing, but it does get over, your 1800 monsters, so it can be handy. Mostly it isn't. The next card, Sassy Rookie. Pretty crucial. I've got him at 2. But generally this card is really, really good. I think he's an amazing wall, especially in the meta that's not dominated anymore by banishing effects such as Karma Cut. Obviously we've got an Aether Dragon in ours, but you don't need to worry about that too much. You'll not see him in many decks apart from Abyss Actors, especially in tiered and high level. His effects are simple. You don't really slap him on the pendulum scales ever unless you're super desperate. You You set him down. Usually I'll try to pendulum summon him so I can special summon him in defense, because if he's face down, you know, there's a lot of effects that are going to destroy him. He doesn't get to use his effect, which is basically they try to destroy you, they try to attack you for destruction, he won't go down. They then have to use another effect to destroy him, and if they expend and use another effect to actually destroy Rookie, he will bring out someone else. Usually you bring out Wild Hope, because if they're going to destroy something again, you get to have more resources in your hand. And the bigger benefit is, because he's a pendulum monster, he's going face up in the extra deck, so you can pay that cost. You can pay that cost of having him set on a bad starting hand, they try and get over him, and then all of a sudden, wham. You know, you've got an extra Abyss Actor on the field, you've got resources ready. He's generally just a very squishy wall, but he's a good enough wall that unless your opponent is really, really good at destruction effects, you're getting resources off them. If they are banishing effects, you're pretty fucked. However, anything that destroys by battle, he's pretty safe. You'll be surviving. And you'll still have resources on the field like Wild Hope. But there's not much else to say about him other than that. He is your wall. If you start with him and your hand ain't looking so good, perfect. You special summon him in defense, he will look after your field for at least one turn. Then we go on to the Superstar. Superstar, I've got him at 1 copy. You see I've got 3. You don't need more than 1. You honestly don't. Like, I've tried 2. It's completely unnecessary and it's bricky. I've never set him in a pendulum scale either. You really don't need to, because, you know, tributing an actor, targeting an Abyss Script spell in your graveyard, you're only carrying 2. You really don't need him in the scale. But he is really good because when you pendulum summon him along with the rest of your Abyss Actor monsters, your opponent doesn't get to use Floodgate Trap Hole, your opponent doesn't get to use any of the back row effects they want to use immediately because of his passive effect on the field. When he's special summoned, your opponent can't activate anything. This passes on to the next card, which is Rise of the Abyss King. I personally don't use any other Abyss Actor back row. They can be handy, but I think people are going to get smart to them quite quickly. And the rest of the effects are kind of meh. They're nice to set and, you know, see if your opponent wants to try and fucking go ham with MST. Because if they do, then you usually get an added benefit because they destroyed your set card. But this is the one where I'm like, yep, this will always have a use. Now, normally, without Superstar, it just destroys face-up cards. Sometimes they will use it on themselves to destroy Wild Hope, bring out some more Abyss Actor cards from the deck. It can work like that. But most of the time, it'll be activating to destroy your face-up cards. Now, what makes it scarier is if they have a level 7 or higher Abyss Actor monster, which counts towards Mellow Madonna and Superstar, you don't get to respond. Like, that is it. Just, nope. Can't do it, can't Book of Moon, can't try and, you know, stop people. You can't try and stop Abyss Actors if they pop this and they have a Superstar and Mellow Madonna. Like, they are going to destroy your ship. Harpies are going to get bamboozled because they don't get their fucking effect activation. And then they'll be like, what the fuck? You just destroyed Harpy, I don't know what's going on. That's generally how I've been getting a lot of wins in Legend, but they do work on their own. They do work quite well. We'll move on. Tech cards now. Sphere Kuriboh needs no introduction. I carry him at 1. If my hand's bricky on first turn, he's there just to make sure I don't die. He's also there so I can pick and choose when I trigger Destiny Draw. Yes, Luke, I know Destiny Draw sucks, but it's really good in this deck, and I use it a lot. Perform Pal Odd Eyes Unicorn. The only thing I've ever used this for is Scale 8. That's it. That's all you need it for. Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon. Rarely have I got this guy out as a monster. Usually he's there just to be, again, Scale 8. This ties in well with Sky Iris. Some people use it at 3. Personally, I use it at 2. I might go to 3 with it because it's always handy and in your starting hand. You have this, you have Wild Hope, you go in +1. Unless the opponents are aware and they destroy it before you get to use it. A lot of the time that doesn't happen. A lot of opponents don't want to use fucking MSTs, back row destruction on cards that aren't directly going to affect your opponent's board. So if it's set, Book of Moon, they'll want to try and destroy it. If it's Sky Iris, which doesn't do anything to them directly, they'll leave it, usually. Again, like I said with Wild Hope, you combine Sky Iris and Wild Hope, you're getting 2 cards for the price of like 1 effect. Really, really handy. MST needs no introduction. I had a Cosmic Cyclone just to try and chip my life points to the 2000 mark so I can trigger Destiny Draw. And yes, unfortunately, we do not use Monster Reborn in this deck. Can be handy. Personally, I prefer Storm. If your opponent sets a lot of back row, sacrifice your entire Pendulum Scale. Just wipe the back row. The less back row they have, the less, outs they have towards your OTK. Because that's what this deck's primarily made for. It's establishing the board in a way where you can get OTK. If you can't get it, you set up your defenses and you wait until you have the resources for OTK. That's how it's going to go. I use Enemy Controller. Now, for your Limit 2 cards, you can use a lot of things. Like, a lot of people use Treacherous Trap Hole. It's a good choice. There's not many Limit 2s that I wouldn't use in Abyss Actors. It's all down to personal preference. I use Enemy Controller because people expect Treacherous Trap Hole a lot in meta. They don't expect you to start the turn off by fucking tributing to gain control of a monster, and then you sack that monster in your combos, or you can XCs with it. There's a lot of other things you can do. But I find Enemy Controller slightly better because I've usually got a monster on my field when my turn starts, and it's not turn 1. I might switch to Tretch, I don't know, but most of the time I just use this. Extra deck, it doesn't need much talking about. I've never used Dark Arm Dragon of Annihilation. Well, I've used it once, actually, and I didn't need to. It was just there for flex. Abyss Dweller, I've popped out once. I'm actually going to take this guy out. I think he sucks. But only because of the way that Abyss Actors work. You never get to use him. Other than that, I might switch him around. Black Sheep of Khorne I've got 1 use out of, and that was for getting rid of Bloom Diva. And it felt really good. But again, I played like 150, 200 games with Abyss Actors on the ladder. You don't really need an extra deck. It's handy. It's a win more, but it's not crucial. And that, my friend, is Abyss Actors in a nutshell. I'll bring you some videos explaining how it works in a live replay, or I'll just start playing it on the ladder and you can watch it. But yeah, enjoy.